so incredible for me.
Thank you so much for coming to the BWIO show. Today we have Samantha Burke and Jesus Soprano.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I'm so excited to be talking with you a lot about your personal journey in opera and about an upcoming project. So let's start off with talking about how did you fall in love with opera? When was that moment for you?
Mm. The truth is, I liked opera, but I didn't love opera. Growing up, I always wanted to be a concert violinist. Since I was like completely small, little in school, I studied violin. And then around the age 11 or 12, I started singing with the Atlanta Young Singers of Calamode here in Atlanta, Georgia. And one of the singers, his name is Reginald Smith. He's a wonderful baritone. He was the only other Black person in Calamode. So we immediately like this clicked. And we used to tour quite a lot. And I always had these different voices that could sing sometimes low, sometimes high, but it never really fit into the musical theater stuff that my school was doing and things like that. So he approached me and he said, "You have a really good voice." And once we were on a trip, on a tour actually in New York, and I remember we sat cramped in this little Greyhound bus next to this massive guy, you know, and he played me spirituals of Jesse Norman on the little, you remember those little CDs that they have? And I was completely enamored from that moment. And I said, I thought she was white. I didn't know anything. I couldn't even imagine a voice like that because I had never seen that come out of somebody like me who looks like me. And I think from that moment on, the music just took me by force. In college, I sang in the opera workshop in undergraduate at Bard College. And I always got casted as different things, the sorceress, in Dido and Aeneas, as Proserpina, like a lot of different mezzo roles. And I transferred back to soprano while also doing a degree in violin studies, and then they doing a minor in musicology as well through the college. So I think we're not, if it were not for that tour with Reggie, I don't know if I'd be singing in opera. So I thank him.
Yes, we thank him too because you have a voice. Okay. And
Thank you.
I love how you like, yeah, I was studying this, so I just heard smart, I'm smart, and
Uh-huh.
I'm smart again.
Right. You're so sweet. Well, I love it. I think opera is one of the most beautiful things that we have on this earth, and is near and dear to my heart. And I'm so privileged, as I'm sure you are, to even be able to uplift my voice to this art form.
Yes, yes, it is such a beautiful thing to experience. Even though when it's like very hard to like learn new music, it's very beautiful
Hmm.
to enjoy it and like feel like your soul is on fire when you're singing. It's so great.
Yes.
And I wanted to know a little bit about how you stay motivated on this path in music because opera is not the easiest of industries.
No, it is not. So, twofold. I think as a person myself, my family is from South America, and I am Afro Caribbean, Afro Latina, all of that combined, on both sides. And so I come from a family of very strong women, right? Very fiery, passionate women who my mother, who I'm thinking of, was next door probably eavesdropping. Um, she always pushed me and said, if you're going to do something, do it fully, freely, with your entire heart. If you're not going to do it completely with your entire heart, mind, soul, every type of sacrifice you can give, go do something else. Because then you will never be the best and you will never love it. Um, that's what's kept me going. My sheer will, perseverance to not only serve the art itself, but also to bring myself to the art, if that makes sense. Bring my culture, bring my attitude, bring my way of being, my thoughts, my energy to, I don't know, maybe this is presumptuous, but even just, re-energize it, change it. It should not stay the same. Um, I really have always sought to say something with my music, whatever role I am cast in that I embody. I would like to at least have some of my own opinion about how this woman would be. For example, like you said, if you're learning Contessa, which I've sung some parts of the role, I think of this is a Latin woman. She's a Spanish woman,
Mhm.
you know?
Right.
She is strong-willed, she's strong-minded, and she's changed. And
Mhm.
so I try to evoke that within myself. And I think in this career path, looking the way that I look, sounding the way that I sound, some people might have their own opinions
Mhm.
and think that, this is not the direction that they want to go towards because maybe it doesn't sell to the patrons or the sponsors. I don't know. I don't care really. What I care about is, can I serve the art? And for those directors and artists and companies that so feel to want to change and do those things and represent those characters in new ways, I hope that I can be a source
Mhm.
from which that is realized.
That is amazing. I love everything you said, especially like bringing yourself and your culture and your experiences to the character because that is the most important part. I feel like there's like a 15,000 contestants, like a billion is
Right.
patients, but it's like what you bring to that person, to that character, to that song or the recitative or whatever it is. That's what makes it special. That's what makes it unique, and that's what makes people drawn to
Yes,
you, honestly. Because I mean, everybody knows it. They just want to see what you bring into it. They want to be attracted to what you're doing. So I love how you say
absolutely.
bring yourself to every single thing and just completely with your whole heart. And I feel like that's something everyone needs to know. Just like if you're gonna do it, do it. Let's get to it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm gonna do it in my way, in my way. Of course, with respect to the music and maintaining the integrity of the art. But you will never see a generic Contessa or Desdemon or whatever from me. Not from me.
Right. I love it. I love it. So let's talk a little bit about your film, Essential. How did
Yes.
it seem like is a part of a graduation or graduate program? Tell us a little bit more about the film.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I've created a recital documentary called Essential, and it started out as um, just a requirement for my graduate thesis. Typically, as we know, when you're in graduate school, which I've gone back to graduate school now in my 20s, in my middle, late 20s, because I so desired to be with colleagues. And I felt that there was so much more to be learned. I'd been performing in Atlanta and in New York, but I really thought that there would be things from the schooling process that I wanted to hone in on. Um, and I got one semester of that before COVID happened. And I said, wow, well, what do I do now? And in a way, I try to motivate my students. I'm also a teacher, I teach voice and violin and piano. I'd gone virtual with my students and I said, we have to stay motivated. Music is essential. And, I want you to feel that you're actually doing something worthwhile. Making music is something that we need, and try to again put yourself into the stories. Choose songs, choose things, repertoire that will reflect what you really feel in this moment. And I guess I started saying that and preaching to myself, which it just one day clicked like a light bulb. What are you doing? I'd seen that a lot of people, are have made lemonade out of lemons, and they are now doing wonderful Facebook recitals and Instagram live recitals, like incredible things. But I didn't really feel the necessity to sing about the things that I had already planned out to be on the program. There were arias, things of lavishness, talking about good stories, but I felt that my voice in order to again I guess this is my culture, my mom's voice in the back of my head. If I'm going to do something, do it with my whole heart. And I wanted to really, if I had a platform to say something, say something.
Mm.
Say something about the time in which we're living and in the things that really affect me. I spoke a little bit earlier about being the only person, me and Reggie, in a white space, which is often how I, grew up in America here in high school and things like that later, in white spaces, doing what I loved. Um, but I felt like in this moment, in 2020, 2021, I wanted to be able to use the music, which I could learn with my wonderful pianist and good friend Richard Hegman. We always practiced on Tuesdays together just to be able to sing, via Zoom or FaceTime or whatever, just going through rep in our libraries, just going through things, whatever spoke to us. And use those songs to really say what I felt and to say what everyone else was thinking.
Mm.
That we are in a time where we are redefining what really matters. I found it, and I don't know, maybe you can agree or disagree, but all too often before COVID, we would, especially artists who were singing in these places, but we also work other jobs,
Yeah.
that we are running ourselves around completely ragged
Mm-hmm.
for sometimes companies that don't actually appreciate it. And to them, we are disposable.
Mm-hmm.
And that feeling of urgency, depression, and desperation is felt by all of us. And so I then, in the same moment while going through this music with Richard every Tuesday, I said, okay, if I'm going to plan a recital, I want it to be of this kind of music. So there's Schumann on the recital, the Liederkreis, and the first song of the Liederkreis talks about losing a sense of home, a sense of belonging, which I definitely felt. I was away from my family in a pandemic, like
Mm.
we all were. And we don't know how we're going to be able to get home, if we're going to be able to safely travel. What if I do travel and I get sick and I make my family sick? Like, what's going to happen? You know? Um, and then I also started looking at how I felt as a person of color, a Black woman in this whole pandemic. I told my roommates, I'm not afraid to stand on a long line. Where I
Mm.
come from, we do that, you know? Where
Yeah.
my family come from, we know what it is to go hungry. We know what it is to stretch money. But there was also a social pandemic happening.
Mm.
And that is the racial injustice that we'd all seen and felt, but it washed like water through our hands.
Yeah.
It's just another story, it's just another name. And you just pile that on, you go to work, you sing, you try to pay your bills, and that's that.
Mm.
But now you have to sit with all of that. And not only you, but the rest of the world has to sit and watch.
Mhm.
And perhaps to some in the higher upper houses and things, they will want to say that they support us.
Right.
And they will want to say that they don't wish to see brutality. But it's not only brutality in force, in killing, but there is brutality in how you treat us in the day to day.
Yeah.
In the day to day, the microaggressions,
Mhm.
the underpayment, the undervalue, the smile in one side and the frown in the other.
Mhm.
So I wanted to speak on that. And I really wanted to use my voice in a way that I truly love, that is personal to me. And for me, I love Nina Simone.
Mm.
I've always loved Nina Simone since I was in high school, like a little girl, always. I was so moved by her voice and her songs. And so once again, I found myself going to not only these songs by Schumann and Liszt and Rachmaninoff, and but also her songs, Nina's songs.
Right.
And I said, my recital has to be twofold. So
Mm.
I said, okay, here I go to embark on a nice recital. I'm going to record it. I'm going to use my resources that I have to record a nice recital. And then the more I started learning about the composer's lives, reading more about the poets and their lives, and also just being completely nurtured by my isolation.
Mm.
What I mean by that, when I'm in isolation, then I get to read,
Yeah.
then I get to think. And so I started going back to things I'd learned in undergraduate about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And to Google I went, you know, like we all do, like, what is this? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm thinking of Larry Moss. I read his book again for like the 10th time, which I love, his Intent to Live. And the question is, what is my greatest need in life?
Mm.
Well, my greatest need in life, Samantha, is to help. Is I'm a helper, I'm a healer. And through my voice, not something that I chose, but something that I was blessed with and given, I'm going to say something and heal. So I wanted, on one side, to really talk about this pandemic and the struggles, the real struggles people go through.
Right.
Not to make something of lavish and music for the sake of music, which is important, but there are enough places like the Met, La Scala to do that.
Right.
But if I'm going to give a recital and I get to choose the music, I'm not going to do it the same as I've done it before. So I was really inspired by Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so each of the songs is paired within one of those hierarchies.
Wow.
The need for physiological needs,
Mm.
safety needs, love and belongingness, um, self actualization, things of that nature. And so each of the songs are divided like that. And then in the second half of my program, I get to talk about racial injustice.
Mm.
Not only racial injustice in the form of mass murdering of people who look like me, and just because they don't sing so pretty like me, I
Mhm.
guess they're not so valued by
Right.
this society. But I am them and they are me.
Right.
But also the injustice that we have for one another.
Mm. Right.
In this country, we just saw the riots on January 6th. I live in the deep south, I live in Georgia.
Mm.
My children had to come out of school for one whole week for
Wow.
fear what would happen to them.
Mhm.
Not only do we have to deal with a complete pandemic, but we have to deal with a social pandemic.
Mm.
And we are sitting in a time unprecedented like any other.
Right.
And so maybe with my little voice and with my little platform, I can inspire other people, other artists to say the things that need to be said. Now, I don't compare myself to Nina Simone or Maya Angelou or anything like that, or even Maslow, but I do have an opportunity to say something that will last. It will be digital.
Right.
So that once we do pass through this time, we can reflect and say, oh, this is what we were dealing with. And thus, we will continue to see the canon of the art form change to mesh and to reflect the given times, because that is what opera is about. It
Mm.
is for the people.
Right.
Of course, now this project has grown way bigger than I ever expected. And thank you to you and to all of the collaborators. Oh, it almost brings me to tears, like to think about how many people have given of themselves to want to participate in this project.
Mm.
Um, I hope to be able to apply for grants with this in the future for to do similar projects with my business, the Atlanta Concert Series here in Atlanta, Georgia, and things of that nature that will invite art, not only for the sake of art and beauty and entertainment, but to be a method of thought and reflection, and then action.
Mm.
Because thought and reflection without action is empty.
Yes.
I think I went a little deep there, but that's from my heart.
Good. That is so good. Like if you have not watched it yet, it's out now so you can watch the video and watch the film and just see the passion that Samantha put into it because I just wanted to do it because I like you. You were always nice on Instagram.
Oh, you're
So
so
I was like,
sweet. You're so
okay,
sweet,
sure, of
Renee.
course I'll do this because Yeah, because you have such a beautiful spirit and you're always really, really kind and very passionate about the things that
Thank
you're
you.
doing. And so it was just an honor to just look at the questions and seeing like what you wanted us to answer and just being able having an opportunity to really talk about my experience in the pandemic because it has not been easy, and
Yeah,
just having the time to just express myself was healing for me, honestly. Even that little bit of time, which took a lot of time because I kept messing up. But
that's okay.
but but just having the time to talk about how I was feeling and really process those feelings, I feel like music can do that for people, and art should be doing that. Like you said, art should be at the forefront of understanding how people feeling and giving them some sense of hope, but also challenging them to take some action. Honestly, that's what I
Yeah.
really am looking forward to with this project, and just I mean, it was a beautiful experience from my end, and I just know it's going to be beautiful. The entire project will be. Was there like a specific song or section that you just felt like deeply, deeply connected to?
Oh gosh, every last song, every last song was really, really pulled something out of me. Not only technically,
Yeah.
let's talk,
Yeah.
because this pandemic has really taught us, what it is to. I've been singing in my home
Right.
and
Hmm.
trying to learn this huge, almost unsurmountable amount of repertoire. There are
Yeah.
about 16 songs on the program.
Mhm.
But I guess to answer your question, the one song that I did sing in the second half is Black is the Color of My True Love's Hair, which is originally an Irish tune. And Nina Simone took it and improvised on it um, with Emmett Latmere, I think is his name. He's a guitarist in a performance, and I had watched it. And I think about how beautiful my people are. And it brings me so much joy to even think about how creative, ingenuitive we are, not only in normal life, but during this time specifically. And that even out of true pain and turmoil, we always seem to create something that's entertaining, beautiful, necessary. And I speak in an interview in the documentary about that, just about, appreciating not only the history of the people who look like me from the past, but people like yourself who are pioneers, and how much I look to them. I look to Andy Moore, I look to Julia Bullock, who I went to school with. I was a freshman when she was a grad student. I remember just like, even to this day, being in complete awe of her.
Yeah.
I think of Lawrence Brownlee and Angel Blue, and just the bodies, how they look and how they are poised and stand and how they deliver the music in itself is protest,
Yeah.
is change
Mhm.
in the most beautiful way. Um, yes.
Yes, that's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Do you like write music? Because you're so poetic.
No, I'm a Cancer. I just feel a
Yeah.
lot.
That's what it is. Okay, that's what I'm feeling. Yes,
Yes.
I love it. So, so we can stay tuned so we can watch this trailer of this video at the end of this interview. But let's talk a little bit about your future with opera. What are you looking forward to next now that you got this big project finished?
Ooh. Well, I can talk about what I have planned
Mhm.
this season, and I can talk about what I hope will come about. A few things that I hope will happen in the near future. So, I'm still in graduate school. I'm in my final semester, and this year last semester we did a virtual opera called Speed Dating Tonight, which was good fun, like really, really exciting. I got to play characters that is so completely different from anything I've ever done, totally different from anything I do in my fach.
Mhm.
Um, but this semester, I actually will be doing my first title role as outside of my fach, which is so crazy, which is Carmen. Um, right. My school, they decided to go against the grain. And that's kind of why, like, I am at Brooklyn College's Conservatory of Music, and they're always trying to do new things, and rather than making a production and then casting singers, they think about really the singers that they have
Mhm.
and try to fit around that mold, which I really appreciate, especially in the conservatory model that doesn't often do that. They say they highlight the singers they want to, and everybody else kind of falls in where they want to them to. And so they said, well, Maria Callas has done Carmen. Angela Giorgio, she was supposed to do Carmen at the Met this year.
Mhm.
Lots of people have done it. And they said, if you're going to sing Carmen, you have to sing it with your voice completely.
Mm,
And
yeah.
I am very thankful that I do have, a good sizable low chest voice and, lower register, but I have a beautiful extension. I hope I can say that. I have a beautiful
Yes,
extension
okay, yes. You have a beautiful
as
extension. Y'all
well.
heard it.
That they would like to showcase this role in within this role. So I'm very excited to be able to do that. Is trying something completely new. I think they know my spirit. I don't think I'm as sultry as Carmen, but I could be as sassy perhaps, And I'll try to bring exactly what I said, my entire self to
Right.
Carmen. Um, the next thing is my pianist and I were planning to record a lot of the songs that we already have, you'll see on the recital, but record them in a little album and a few other songs. So that's to come later this fall. And what I would hope is, of course, I'm going to do all the auditions like everybody else for young artist programs and things of that nature. But I've also been working on, I'm always thinking of like self promoted, ground floor projects. But I started learning before COVID, La Voix Men,
Mhm.
Poulenc's La Voix Men, which is a one woman opera, and it is through composed, all music. There's a little bit of dialogue, but I'd like to do that with piano. And since we're virtual, stage it. Um, I I don't want to give too much away, but stage it. As you'll see in my recital, I bring this beautiful classical music to very unconventional places to perform. And I'd like to do exactly the same with this opera. So that's what I have in store for me. If anybody wants to book me for anything else, I am not opposed to that as well.
Yes.
But
Voice, you're getting intelligence, you're getting artistic direction, you're getting a lot.
I'm trying. It seems that's what we have to be now in this day and age.
Yes, yes. So I love it. So where can people find you? How can they watch the film?
Absolutely. So, on February the 14th, Valentine's Day, San Valentine's Day, I will be doing a YouTube live showing of the recital documentary Essential on YouTube. The link for that will be posted in my Instagram. You can follow me at Samantha Burke Soprano. You can also find more about me and my concert series at the Atlanta Concert Series.org. And I invite you to, and also on Facebook at Samantha Burke Soprano. And I invite you to please reach out, tell me what you think. I'm so blessed to be able to have met so many collaborators and producers and videographers through this project. And if anybody needs resources for anything, these people are incredibly generous and talented. And even if you want to do something together, reach out and let me know.
Awesome. So thank you so much, Samantha. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll see y'all
Thank
later.
you. All right, bye. Bye.